In the wild jungle, only one man heard the cries of the alien woman caught in a hunting trap. The jungle was alive that night. Every branch, every leaf, and every shadow seemed to whisper with secrets. Cicadas droned in a relentless chorus, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and wild orchids. The moonlight slanted through the canopy, painting streaks of silver on the tangled undergrowth. Elias Brand moved carefully, his boots sinking into the mossy ground. He had lived in these jungles for nearly 3 years, a recluse by choice. Some men ran from debts, others from wars. He had run from himself. But solitude had taught him to listen. In the jungle, every sound mattered. The rustle of predators, the cry of prey, the storm that brewed before its clouds appeared. That was why he stopped in his tracks when he heard it. Cry. Not human, at least not entirely. It was high-pitched, keening, a sound caught between pain and desperation. Elias narrowed his eyes and tilted his head, letting his ears filter through the noise of insects and night birds. There it was again, farther ahead. He muttered under his breath, "Damn hunters!" The off-world poachers had been scouring this planet for months, setting cruel snares and traps in their pursuit of exotic trophies. Elias hated them. They had no respect for the land, no reverence for the life it held. Pushing aside the vines, he followed the sound until the jungle opened into a clearing bathed in silver light. There, tangled in a cruel iron snare that bit into her ankle, was a woman. No, not fully human. Her skin glowed faintly, the shade of deep bronze with a shimmer like starlight on water. Her hair was long and black with threads of violet that caught the moonlight, and her eyes, wide and wild with pain, were the color of molten gold. The trap had cut deep into her leg, leaving trails of blood that glistened like mercury. For a moment Elias simply stood frozen, because she was unlike anything he had ever seen. A creature both fierce and delicate, caught like an animal. Her gaze snapped to him, and she let out a hiss, baring sharp, gleaming teeth. "Stay back," she cried in a strange accent, though the words were clear enough. "I'm not here to hurt you," Elias said quietly, raising his hands in peace. "But if I don't get that trap off, you'll bleed out before sunrise." She tried to pull away, but the iron clamped tighter, drawing another cry of pain from her throat. It wasn't just metal. It was a poacher's trap laced with energy filaments designed to keep its prey weak. Elias had seen animals die from less. Crouching carefully, he drew the knife from his belt. "This will hurt, but I'll free you." Her golden eyes searched his face, desperate yet distrustful. Finally, she gave a small nod. The work was brutal. Elias wedged the blade under the mechanism, cursing softly as sparks bit his fingers. She whimpered when the trap shifted, and instinctively he murmured soothing words he hadn't used since childhood. "Easy now. Hold on. Almost there." With a final snap, the jaws of the trap sprang open. The alien woman collapsed forward, gasping in relief, clutching her mangled leg. Elias quickly tore a strip of cloth from his shirt and wrapped it tight around the wound, slowing the bleeding. "Can you walk?" he asked. She tried, stumbled, and would have fallen if he hadn't caught her. Her weight was surprisingly light, though she trembled with exhaustion. "You saved me," she whispered, astonishment softening her tone. Elias gave a faint, crooked smile. "Guess I was the only one listening tonight." They didn't linger in the clearing. Hunters might return to check their traps, and Elias knew how they dealt with witnesses. Supporting her against his shoulder, he guided her through the dense foliage until they reached the hidden shelter he had built deep in the jungle, a wooden hut reinforced with stone, half swallowed by vines. Inside, he laid her carefully on a bed of woven palm leaves. By the flickering lantern light, her features seemed even more unearthly. Delicate ridges along her cheekbones, faint bioluminescent patterns tracing her arms like constellations. He cleaned her wound as best he could, applying crushed herbs and bandages. She watched him in silence until finally she said, "My name is Sira." "Elias," he replied. "You risked much for me, Elias. If hunters find you with me, they will kill you too." He shrugged. Wouldn't be the first time men tried. Her lips curved in a small, weary smile. Over the next hours, as the jungle hummed around them, Sira told him her story. She was not of this planet. Her people had come seeking refuge after their world fell to war. The hunters had stalked them since, capturing the women for trade, selling their bodies as exotic prizes. She had fled into the jungle but hadn't known about the traps. Elias listened, anger simmering in his chest. He had always thought himself broken, a man cut off from the world. But seeing her, hearing her pain, stirred something he thought long dead, a sense of purpose. "You can't stay here," he said finally. "The hunters will keep coming. But I know paths they don't. I can lead you to the mountains. There are caves there, safe enough until your people can find you." Her golden eyes shone with gratitude. "Why would you do this for me?" Elias looked at her bandaged leg, then at the stars faintly visible through the thatched roof. "Because once I lost someone. I wasn't there to save her. Maybe this time I can make it right." The night passed, heavy with the scent of rain. By dawn they moved out. Sira leaned on him, her strength returning slowly, but her spirit burned fierce. She no longer looked like prey caught in a trap. She looked like a survivor, unbroken despite her wounds. When the hunters returned to check their snare, they found only bloodstains and the echo of cries swallowed by the jungle. Elias and Sira were already gone, vanishing deeper into the wilderness where the poachers dared not follow. And as the sun rose, casting gold over the endless green, Elias felt something he had not felt in years: hope. In the wild jungle, where no one else had listened, he had heard the cries of an alien woman. And by saving her, he had saved himself too. By dawn, the jungle stirred with birdsong, the heavy air washed clean by a night of rain. Elias moved carefully, guiding Sira through the dense undergrowth, her arm hooked over his shoulder. Though her steps faltered, there was fire in her eyes now, no longer the wide, desperate look of prey but the steady gaze of someone who refused to be broken. Behind them, the poachers would return to their traps soon, finding only blood-soaked earth and silence. Ahead lay the mountains, where hidden caves and winding rivers could shelter Sira until her people returned for her. For Elias, each step forward felt like shedding an old weight. He had lived years buried in regret, hiding from the world. Yet in the cries of an alien stranger, he had found something worth risking his life for. At the ridgeline, he paused with her, watching the sun rise in blazing gold across the endless canopy. The jungle stretched vast and alive beneath them, dangerous but also free. Sira squeezed his hand, her golden eyes glimmering. "You heard me when no one else did." Elias smiled faintly. "And I'll keep listening." Together they walked toward hope.